This is the off-season content you dream about. This is going to feed families for the next couple of days on social media. But Cal Toomey exclusively revealed that Essendon are going to make a 7-year, $10 million play on Josh Weddle after he comes out of contract in 26. And this is great. I love this so much. And I love it for probably the reasons why neutral fans also love it is because of the Zach Merrett non-trade, which is the only reason that this has any semblance of animosity behind it in the slightest. Like when Nasiah Wanganeen-Miller came out of contract, the Port and Adelaide chasing him made sense at the time because he's a South Australian boy. He could look to go home. Now, Josh, of course, infamously did not want to go outside of Victoria. It's not something that I love, but he did it. Archie Perkins, Tanner Bruin also did it. Infamously, GWS didn't care about that, but then, of course, he ended up at Geelong. So that's what happened. It's kind of how the Hawks were able to trade up to get him in the first place. So it's not the go home factor that makes sense here. The sense in itself is that the Bombers have identified the fact that they want to be more gun-ho out of either the middle of the ground, off their wings, or off their half-back, which is where Weddle does his best work, identified obviously as the All-Australian during his draft year, but he hasn't actually been a fullback throughout the entirety of his career, basically at all. I was there that day against Carlton where he lined up on Charlie Curnow, got given a bath, and it turned out the Hawks wanted to use him for what he was best at, not for what he can't do. And whilst the Bombers have got Ben Mackay, these kind of guys that can, Zach Reid, who also I think will be able to play that more lockdown defender role, Weddle for them, ideally, where I'm seeing it from their point of view, is they want him, which is why they're going to pay so much coin for him, to be their third defender. Run, go, still do what you need to do defensively. Josh gets back nearly better than anyone in the competition. I've said it before, I'll say it again, that I think he could genuinely be an all-Australian winger because of what he can bring both offensively, defensively, his run, his carry, his meters gained. He averages nearly 20 meters per disposal, which is remarkable for a player and for anyone that wants to move the ball well. It's absolutely insane what he's able to do. If he's able to get that disposal marker up to that sort of 23, 24, 25 range, then you're looking at one of the scariest players in the competition. And I 100% get why Essendon would want him. I 100% get why Cal Toomey wanted to report this as quickly as possible. A, of course, to get the story first. B, of course, as a Bombers fan, that Cal is, I believe, being that wet with anticipation would have been absolutely unreal. Because the reaction from the Hawks on social media, Hawthorn fans, we'll start there, was the exact same that I gave in my group chat, very tongue-in-cheek, which was 8 first, if Merrett's worth what Essendon thought they were, 6 to 8 first-round picks, Merrett, Caddy, Kako, and, 3 second-rounders or whatever it is. Very much in the vein of, well, you tried to give us a ridiculous offer, let's give you one. Which is very funny. Now, again, if you also eliminate the fact that nuance and all these sort of things kick in, okay, that makes it a less funny, more serious conversation. Weddle obviously is not a 30-year-old, 6-time best and fairest winning captain with 2 years to go on a contract as to when this deal would come out. Weddle is also not a free agent, so it's not as if it could be, I'm seeing a lot on social media, well, the Hawks should just take their band one compensation and run. We wouldn't do that if Weddle wanted to go. And don't worry, the fact that he's not going anywhere is also a part of this conversation. It's a part of the later bit of this conversation, a part of the conversation no less, my friends. But let's just say this happened and he wanted out and he wanted to go to the Bombers, and jeez, you think round one this year would be spicy. Imagine Essendon holding Merrett and getting Weddle just as a neutral fan. Holy shit, would be genuinely crazy. Would be cinema. Like, again, the neutral part of my brain, if I ignore the Hawthorn part, goes, this is what sport is made for. From a content point of view, from a neutral fan point of view, this is just awesome and all that. But it makes complete sense. You're going to be paying upwards of big money for younger players compared to older players. Paying for potential is kind of what we do now. The increasing salary cap is a factor in that. The fact that, like, Nasiah Wanganeen-Miller signs for $2 million a year. Now, I know that's sort of short term. I don't know what that money would be if he ended up wanting out of St Kilda, goes to Port Adelaide, and Adelaide, who 2 years from now would be wanting to be in a really good position. But the money for me is, like, not that big a deal. I feel like if you're overpaying for youngsters at the start is not a big deal. Of course, it's how the deal transpires. So this whole, he's not worth it. I mean, you can just admit that you don't watch him and you don't see why he would be worth a large contract. I think a lot of people are looking at 1.4 in the same way that 1.4 would have been looked at, 10, 15 years ago. Was Gary Ablett Jr. ever getting 1.4? Why would Josh Weddle? Whereas I think if you look at it as a percentage of the salary cap rather than the actual number, things start to make a little bit more sense. If the salary cap's, 20 mil, 19 mil, but 20 is easier to do the math on, then 1.4 effectively becomes around about 6%, maybe just a little bit higher. So 6% of your salary cap going towards one player. Now, considering, again, if you average it out, you've got 44 players that you need to pay 100% of your salary cap on. You're looking at every player averaging out at about 2.5%. So I think if the most average player in the AFL that you can is Josh Weddle 2.5 times better than the most average player in the competition, I would say yes, so it's not that big of a deal, in my opinion. The Bombers also wouldn't be paying too many players an exorbitant amount of coin, so again, I don't think the figure is altogether that bad or that terrible. Now, before you chew my head off, Hawthorn fans, this is where we'll go from neutral to Hawks biased. He ain't going anywhere. All right, he just isn't. Why would he go? The Hawks currently are not paying anyone that much anyway. And in terms of the older guys that are on the list, like Sicily is not going to be around forever, right? But you've got Weddle, you've got Nick Watson, who are probably going to demand the larger coin as they sort of go through this revolutionary period in terms of your $1 million players. But I don't think John Newcomb is ever going to be $1 million midfielder under the current financial landscape. Like, we have to be honest here, in terms of youth that are going to be propelled into the massive amount of coin, that's not on our list. You're not paying $1 million a year for like a Lloyd Meek. You're not paying $1 million a year for anyone on that list that's 25 and under that aren't those two boys. I don't think Connor McDonald's $1 million player. I don't think Jack Ginnivan is $1 million player, or maybe has the potential to get there, I'm sure. But Guinea's best form was this year, and I wouldn't be paying $1 million for that. So, yeah, the Hawks are going to have cash to burn. And clearly we did, because we went after Merrett, Humphrey, Petrarca. We've shown we've got a war chest. We're going to be able to afford this. So unless the club are somehow stuffing this up in such a monumental way that not only that if he wants to leave for Essendon, we're fine. Relax. But overall, this is amazing. I love this. Cal Toomey, I already love him. And I love him more for... This is the content that you dream of. Balls to the wall, Essendon, like, for doing this. They want to improve their list. It's the right thing to do. Hawthorn wanted to improve their list with the Merrett deal. Neither have done anything wrong, so good luck to you. But I'll tell you this much, he ain't going anywhere. So, yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Like, if you like the video, I've had to push my Harry Sheezel video back now twice because of other stuff that's come up. So that's always fun. I hope that video doesn't go to shit. But if you enjoyed this, click the subscribe button, stick around for more stuff. I'll see you in the next video, and Josh Weddle will very happily be a Hawk, I think, for the long-term future. I'm pretty confident of that. See you next time.